Welcome to Module 3. This is just a brief overview. There are two other videos that get into the details of these chapters, but I just want to use this intro to give you the lay of the land for this module. So I call this one the strategic side. As we turn the corner and look towards the project management portion of our course, we don't want to forget about what we've already covered in innovation, but we want to recognize that innovations are executed and put into place using project management. So we're really going to focus on these next 6 modules on the project management side. Now this is a graduate level course, MBA program. So I do want to start on the strategic side. So these first 2 modules, we're really going to look at the what of project management. What does it do? Why do we get into it? What's an organization looking to achieve? Then we'll slide over to the mechanics. So just as a visual overview, we've got those 2 innovation sections that we covered, the 2 modules. Get our heads around the concept of innovation and some of the characteristics of an innovative organization. And now we're going to move into what I call the project management context. It's just going to be 2 modules. And then for the remainder of the course, we'll look at the actual mechanics of project management. So here we go, Module 3. We're going to cover 2 chapters in this module. Chapter 1, Projects in Contemporary Organizations. And that just is the foundation of project management. We're going to cover some really key concepts, core concepts in it. There is a deliverable, the Olympic torch questions. That's a small reading within the chapter. Then we'll cover Chapter 5 and have a discussion forum to kind of connect the dots on that. And then this week is our first optional case. So let me give you a little bit more detail on it. Chapter 1, the why of project management. Again, why do organizations do project management? Why is it such a critical part of a successful organization's DNA? Watch when you go through this. If you've done some project management, I hope this just puts a frame around some of that. If you haven't worked at all in project management, then this is going to give you some key elements that you can't move forward without. And at the center of that is the budget, schedule, and scope, what we call the iron triangle. I've got a little more detail on that in our video, but this is what makes a project different: the budget, the schedule, and the scope of what we're to achieve. Watch out for project life cycle. It's something that we need to think about, certainly from an execution standpoint, and that concept is that the project changes as it goes through its life between initiation and completion. And things change throughout that. And a big part that changes is the risk profile. And what are the chances that something won't go off as planned and will affect our budget, our schedule, and our scope. So don't just skim over that. Make sure you really get those concepts. And then our deliverable for this chapter is the Olympic Torch Relay Project. I'll ask you to write up and turn in your responses on that. And again, there's a separate video just covering the Chapter 1 concepts. I'm sure that you could just blow through this. It's a summer course, I know, but if you really want to get your arms around project management, I encourage you to read the chapter and then watch the video, or vice versa. The video is probably in the 10-minute range. I put it together to share with you some of my own experience and some key concepts that I see come out of Chapter 1. So while the videos are certainly optional, I really would strongly recommend you just go for it and dig in deep. Chapter 5, we skip a few chapters. We'll come back and fill in of some of those, but Chapter 5 is an important one because it's really about the organization, the company you work with, or whatever that organization is, and how projects fit within that corporate structure. So it's more of a strategic chapter. It's something that we don't have control over in the short term as project managers, but as we shape our organizations, as we come on board with an organization that thinks they're doing projects, understanding these different generic organizations and where projects fit into them is very helpful. The Project Management Office is a very specific concept. Not all organizations that do projects have a PMO, a Project Management Office, but they serve a very specific role. So I would encourage you to read that section carefully as well. And also there's a Chapter 5 video certainly to cover the high points of this from my own perspective. And then the incident for discussion, our deliverable from Chapter 5 is a very short reading at the end of the chapter called Shaw's Strategy. And it takes a look at a situation from a work situation that we can apply the concepts of the chapter. We'll use that as a discussion forum this week. That is a required form. I'm glad I put myself a reminder out there. Finally, cases. I am requiring that you complete 2 case studies as part of our course content. There are 4 of them selected throughout the chapter. They're in chapters 5, 7, 8, and 9. You must complete 2 of those as part of your deliverables, but I'll let you choose which of the 4 you choose. There's an additional document in this week's module called case document, I believe, and it provides a rubric of how I'm going to score those written cases, what I'm looking for you to do as part of each one, and our first one, this first available one, is called Oil Well Cable Company. You don't have to complete this one, but you do need to complete 4, so take a look at when those are going to occur to ensure that you have time to complete those. With these cases, Oil Well Cable Company, if you decide to do that case, it is due to be submitted by the end of this week's module. You can't just build them all up and submit them all at the end. We're covering that material this week. If you want to do this case, then go ahead and write it up and turn it in. Same is true for our case from chapter 7, 8, and 9. They will be due in the weeks those chapters are covered. So if you don't get them done in those weeks, then they're not going to be accepted. So Course Cafe is always open for your venting. There's also other discussion forums in each weekly module, so if there's something from the content of the week that you want to kick around with people and get some other perspectives on, feel free to float that out there. The cases are individual cases, but if you stumble across something and want to get some other people's thoughts on it and say, hey, what do you think of, or does this apply here, then the weekly forum is a good place to toss that out and get some other people's feedback. But I do want to see your own individual perspectives when you write up your case and turn it in. So have a great week.